Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Rock and K. So if you don't know who we are, we're a couple of expats transplanted to Germany, and we are doing the off-gridding homesteading DIY thing here in Germany. And today I'm in the barn working on the heating system. So we're doing the movement of all the pumps and everything. So that's coming up. Hey folks, we're back at the heating wall and we're getting it. It's good stuff. So parts have been showing up for the things that I need, you know, all the little fittings and everything. Man, they're pricey. They're pricey. But it's a one and done. So they're not that expensive. Between 10 and 20 euro per piece. So it's all right. We only need to do it one time if we do it right. So let me flip you around. So here's some of the bits and pieces. We have the coupling to connect the water coming out of that tank to these two mixers. Then we have all the miscellaneous 90s, 45s, all of that to get everything plumbed for the mixers. I'm going to pop these mixers open and show you a little bit about them really quick. I'll go into detail when the system is up and running so that you guys can understand how we do it here in Germany or how we do it here in Europe. I'm sure it's similar in America. It's just I never really messed with it in America. So if it is the same, in the comments, let me know. It'd be great to know. So we're going to run two zones with the ability to have a third. So I ordered a manifold across the bottom. It is the absolute last part I'm waiting for. When that shows up, we're going to go full gas and get this done. But essentially what happens is you have a loop of water that runs above this mixer from here up in this mixer. And that water is temperature controlled by two control boxes, one control box for each. Then everything from here down is actually the main circuit for the heater, not the heating circuit. So this is the mixing valve. What it does is it adjusts and puts it where you want it. So we have the control boxes. So the control boxes, when I put them up and get them up and running, I'll show you how they work. I'll give you a whole tour of this whole system once we're back up and running, because I know some of you are curious as to how we heat with hood and how we make it that it's just as easy as, nearly as easy as oil. You know, I do have to do work to make that pile of wood that's behind me. And that work is therapy for me. Going out in the woods, enjoying it. But that's a side note. So today we are over here. I have to take those two control boxes, and I do have a third control. That third control is actually in case I need to use this central circulation pump. So according to the Meister, and yes, that's what they call a lead technician, is a Meister here in Germany. According to the heating Meister, the heating Sanitar Meister, I don't need that pump. He says because here's the tank is going to draw it directly into the circuit from the manifold, and it actually should result in a more efficient system, because then the only water moving in these two pipes is the water that's actually doing the heating, rather than it making a loop and water coming out of the top of the tank and going into the bottom of the tank and stuff. It's supposed to be more efficient. So today I'm going to get the templates and mount the 2 controls. I am going to have them all the way over here to the right, because the plan is a 3rd heating circuit. So I want everything to look neat and organized. So I'm going to kind of space them out for 3 heating circuits. And should I need to do the central circuit I will put above it or below it, kind of in the layout that the system is. Because if you look, we would have 1 pump at the bottom. If you look, we would have, let me adjust here. We would have a pump down here and then the heating circuits. So I think I'm going to lay it out where the control boxes are, where the heating circuits are. So we'll have the man cave party room heating control, the main house circuit heating control, and then the 3rd circuit heating control, which is actually going to be for up above us. So in putting them on the wall over here, what we'll do is we'll put them party room, house, 3rd circuit, and then I do think we're going to put the main circuit, if it's needed, we'll put it down here. This way it kind of mirrors everything that's over there. I just think it makes more sense. They'll all be labeled just like I labeled these here. If you look, these are all labeled. So if you look, it's all labeled. So Spicer buffer, that's the storage tank. Kessel boiler, that's the actual wood stove in and out. And then house was that whole big main circuit in and out of the actual building. Now that it doesn't chase around through the building, it's just going to be puffer in and out, that, you know, down on these 2 to tell me what temperature is going to the mixers and what temperature is actually coming back. It just lets me monitor the system and keep it running as efficiently as possible. So I've been rambling, and it's mostly because, as you know, I'm a bad starter. Once I get going, you can't stop me. But man, get me moving. Sometimes it's difficult, especially on a day when I'm supposed to work. It's the weekend. Well, I'm off today. I took the day off, so. But we're going to get some stuff on this wall. We're going to get a switch, some lighting, stuff like that. That's what's on the agenda for today. Hopefully sometime today the distributor shows up and we can put those on the wall as well. I am ordering the 3rd one to put alongside of it, so it's all same. It makes it a little bit easier for anybody that's working on the system or working with the system. If they're all the same, you don't have a learning curve. While it's not a lot of learning, I'll show you when I go through the setup and everything for the heating system. I'll show you what actually has to be done and how to go about that. But going off grid and heating with wood is easy. It's a no-brainer. It's inexpensive. It's a renewable resource. Like I've said in the past, they've been pulling wood out of the forests here in the same exact forests for hundreds of years. Like, no kidding. Because, I mean, before oil boilers were a thing, they had to heat their houses and they had wood stoves and such. And they've been pulling firewood from the same forests for hundreds of years. They go through and they manage it really, really well here in Germany. My firewood I get from the same forest every year. The whole town gets it from the same forest every year. And there's still trees, and there's still just as many trees. So they manage it really well. Okay, I'm back again. Just got a phone call from Mama, and so I had to stop taping because I do use my phone to make videos. So she was all excited. We have a 1.5-ish old Ford Ranger. The Rangers are awesome, by the way. They're a awesome mid-size truck now. They used to be compact trucks. So anyway, long story short, we had some issues with it, and they weren't sure if they were going to warranty it because the issue is a wear item. It's a filter, a particle filter for the diesel, and they're wear items. They're not usually covered under warranty. However, our truck has like 25,000 kilometers on it, and the particle filter is actually cracked. It's not clogged, it's cracked. Ford warrantied it. So thank you, Ford. And I love the truck. The truck is awesome. So back to the heating system. We can do a review or whatever on the truck if you want, but I love the truck. Back to the heating system. So we're going to get this system started. In the process, we're going to put a light up there. We're going to put some outlet and a switch over here, switch to control the light. We're going to put the light on some long brackets. Yes, we're going to give you a quick description. I'll wrap it all up at the end to tell you what I got done. This is a Friday video. I am putting this footage is being filmed Friday, so I will stop on the early side because I want to do some editing and get you guys a video out today on schedule. I do have some video and some editing that I did do on my solar system. So that I'm actually probably gonna put up. There might be a flurry of posts, like I've said before. I got my Victron equipment. I did a little bit of a mod, and I'll tell you how I'm using the actual Victron equipment to hook my batteries up to my inverter because I do have a hybrid inverter. So anyway, let's get back to the heating system. Let's get going, and away we go. So I got y'all set up on a tripod, and luckily the new control box came with the handy dandy template. So what I really want is I want this line for the top of my control boxes. What I'm trying to achieve is that they're level and evenly spaced, but with the top of this control box so that they look all nice and even. Then what I'll do is I'll drill holes and tuck all the wiring back in behind and do all my wiring behind the panel just like I did with these. So it should work out. Mama says I'm OCD. Yeah, I am a little bit. I like things to look neat and organized. But when the template is on the back, you see how the screws set in. So what I did was set it there, and I marked where the top of the control unit is if the screws are seated. So that is actually going to sit there, and then where the control unit is, it should be all one deal. I marked the centers, and then I just took this and folded it in half to make it work so that I can then take my template, put it just like that, and then I'll take my center punch, like so, put it right where it needs to go, and then do the same over here. Now I got the places for the screws. So I'm going to go through, grab some screws, set this up. I got to find screws that will fit. I left the old screws behind because they were a different style of screw. I do have to do some cleanup down in the basement where these were. So we got some screws and we're going to put them in. I'm going to leave them out and a little bit loose. When I'm ready to mount the boxes permanent, I'll snug them up so that they sit down in really tight. But for now, they're going to be going on and off. So because they're going on and off of this, I'm going to go ahead and leave them a little on the loose side so I can get the boxes hung, make sure everything looks good. I might go with a little bit shorter of a screw. I do have some a little bit shorter. Just because I'm leaving these out some, I'll use the longer ones for now. But if all worked out, we should be able to. We should be able to move them up. So there they are. However, I am by no means a professional. Somehow, calculation-wise, we are down a little too low. Now, do I fix it? Do I leave it? I think it'll be all right. While I wanted it there, they are kind of centered on this one. So I tried. Oh well, these things happen. Still looks good. Like I say, I'm not a professional, and I'm going to give you the good and the bad. And well, look, I'm off by 0.5 centimeter. So probably I should have not worried about moving it down on the paper like I did. But you learn. Maybe I will move them up so that I can hide the lines. You know this is going to bother me. So I'm not OCD. I don't care what Mama says. I'm not OCD. But I think we need to move them up. As much as plus that the pencil marks are there. If I move them up, we'll get a better look. All right, let's redo it. You won't see the screw holes. They're going to be behind everything anyway. I'll know they're there, but I'm not OCD enough to have to plug those holes. Now you know this means I'm going to make them too high, right? Hopefully, it's just like the porridge, and it's just right. You don't see the pencil marks. Everything looks good. Now what we'll do is, these have a bunch of wires. And basically the wires are power in and then power out to the pumps. So you can see here's power in. It has a regular plug on it the way it comes. I'm actually going to remove the plug because we're going to be hardwiring these in. They do have switches on the side to turn them on and off. If you do use these kinds, I recommend you leave them on, because what it does do is, if you know when you take your heating system offline for the season, the pumps stop turning. These, once a week, will run the pumps for 30 seconds to stop them from binding. It's built in, it's a function. These actually use very low power when they're turned on. It's something like 0.7 watts. Don't quote me. I just but it's very minimal, that these can stay on for the whole summer. And the good thing is they'll run the pumps every once in a while to stop the chance of them seizing up. So it's a little bit of security because those pumps are hundreds of euros each. Then it has one will power the pump, one will power the mixing valve, and it will adjust the mixing valve by temperature. So we'll show you how that's all done. The other two wires are temperature probes. So one of these temperature probes is going to go on the tank. This way the box knows it has warm water to circulate. The other one will be zip tied up against the pipe that feeds that circuit. So what it will do is it will mix in hot water until this gets to the temperature that we want it to get to. So I will mark where each of these go on the wall. We'll knock some holes in the wall and get these fed through. The temperature probes are going to do the same thing, because while one temperature probe has to go there, one temperature probe has to go in this conduit up top and make its run around. Also, the pump wire, the pump feed wire, and the mixer adjustment wire, they both need to go over to where the mixers are going to be as well. So what we're probably going to do is add a conduit to the bottom and add a conduit to the top so that we have plenty of room. We'll actually start the conduits, probably offset them and probably start them about here, so that we have two attachment points to keep it straight, and then we're going to send it around and over to the heating wall itself. So we're just going to use a straight edge. And we're going to move down just a little bit because I don't want to strain those connections, so that we can actually get them curved. And you can see when you bend that wire, so about that level is about where we need to curve them into the wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my straight edge down there. Let me get my little level. And I'm just going to make little tick marks where the wires are. And these two wires need to go as well. Now we have a good route for those wires to kick back and make that all nice and neat so we don't have wires hanging down the outside. So if you don't have one of these, I highly recommend you get one. You can go to your Harbor Freight or whatever. If you're not doing machine work, you can get away with any of them. You can get the digital one, whatever. Accuracy is not a really big thing when you're making comparative measurements. And what I mean is, I'm going to measure the wire, then I'm going to measure the drill bit. I'm using the same tool, so if it's off, it really doesn't matter as long as the bit is the right size for the wire that I'm putting through the wall, right? So the little wire is 2.8 millimeters. The big wire is 4.8 millimeters. So we'll go up a little bit. So we'll do a 3 millimeter hole and we'll do a 6 millimeter hole. So 3 millimeters on these sides and 6 millimeters on this side. That'll get us the wires in through the wall. I will have to cut that one set of plugs. So let's go ahead and find 2 bits and make some holes. Like I said before, we're hardwiring it. So they got to go. And I flush cut them because I want as much wire as possible. And if I end up changing the setup, I can strip the ends and put new plugs on it and it'll look all pretty the way it needs to. So we're going to start by feeding these in order. Now once I snug the screws up, it'll sit tight. We'll make it so you have to force the box down, but that looks pretty good. Wires look pretty much controlled. I have to figure out what this wire is. I don't have the directions with me right now, but it was never hooked up. I think it's for an additional circuit. Whatever we have to do with it, I'll probably just make another hole and tuck this in behind. We'll see. If it's not needed, I could always actually cut it off too. But I don't know if I should cut it. We'll figure that out later. It is a work day, so you keep hearing the farmers and the tractors going by. I do live in a rural town, kind of an urban homestead. So we'll do the other box and then start stringing these wires out so that we can label them, get them routed, bring them up. It is going to be interesting. I didn't plan on this when I built this wall for all the controls, but I didn't know I was going to be moving everything to the wall. Thankfully, the wall is big enough, but had I known I was doing this, I would have set it up ahead of time. It'll just be interesting doing all this wiring kind of behind it. Thankfully, most of the junctions are going to be inside the conduit with end connectors, so that I'm not fighting to make connections behind the wall. The electrical connections, because they're all the way off to the side over there, that's easy. Well, I say it's easy, but yeah, we'll see. And like I was saying, this is a lot easier to string because I can just reach behind it now and we're away from the tank. When we installed this system, I had no idea what it was going to evolve into at this point. This is the third iteration of this heating system. and it has only been getting better. I think this is hopefully the last iteration, because these are all independent controls. And with that said, even if I do change the wood burner in a couple of years, because wood burners are a wear item, so I expect to get minimum 5 years out of the wood burner. I'm hoping to get more than that. I'm hoping to get 10, which is not unreasonable. 30 years is not unreasonable out of a wood burner, because they're really, I mean, outside of the fan, there's no moving parts. It's just hot wood smoke and gases are corrosive to the system, and they do actually wear down metal and stuff like that. This has bricks in a lot of the areas, has Firestone in a lot of the areas that the hot gases tend to wear on the system. Look at that. So like I was saying, where there's fire brick inside that are changeable to get some longevity out of the system. And when those wear down, you just pull them out, put new ones in. So, party room mixer, main house circuit mixer. We have room for circuit number 3, and it'll look organized, nice and level. I will go through and tighten up the screws once I know what these two are. I have the directions in my phone, because we are in Germany. These were sourced here in Germany, so the directions are in German. But thankfully, Eurostir, the company that makes the mixers, the mixing controls, they have English directions. So these are cool. When I get the system up and running and I program these, I'll show you all that. These are really cool, the way they work. And the nice thing is, the main mixing control, I bought a Eurostir main circuit control, that if I do need it, I can put it down here. And then all my stuff is here. The other thing I plan to do is to put a document holder down here, lower on the panel. And all my documentation for everything I'll put there, so that if I need to figure out how to change something if I forget, or, God forbid I'm not here, or, I sell the house or whatever, all the directions to operate the system are actually here. So, on to the next part. So now that we have the mixing controls mounted on the wall, we need to work on getting the power back over here, because in the teardown of the system, I did cut the power. So there is the power coming in for the room. Comes in on this Romex. And the plan is to bring the power up. We'll do it in 2 lines. One line is going to go to a switch and outlet about here and continue up. The switch is going to do a light up there. Then the other one will come up and then cut across to meet up with the conduits you see over there, so that I'll have one solid conduit supply all the power over to the system. So that's the next step. We're getting there. This is going to be a wiring day. It's going to be nothing but electrical and sensors and all of that. so that when the rest of my parts show up, and I hope they show up today or tomorrow, because it's chilly. Mama's complaining. She goes, it's good. It's cold. Yes, it is chilly, but I like it cold. I slept like a baby last night because the bedroom was about 16 degrees Celsius. So anyway, we'll get going on this. I'll set you up again, and I'll talk little bits through, along the way as I'm doing it. And yeah, then we'll stop probably around 5-ish tonight, about 5 maybe, somewhere around there, so that I can go ahead and get this edited and get it out to you. So first things first, we're going to put up a light. So it is an LED light. It's a little two bulber that we're going to put up there. So let's do it. And then we'll run the wiring back to everything so that we know where it's going. All right, let's do it. So I put that light on brackets. It's really light, pun intended. But it is really lightweight. So we'll get the brackets the rest of the way screwed in. Maybe it's easier if I flip you around. We'll get the brackets the rest of the way screwed in now that we know where they're going. And it looks like it's going to work out just right for it to curve 90 and run to the wall and down to our switch. I love it when a plan comes together. So I was just inside. Mama's complaining it's cold. So I got to get it cracking. We're getting somewhere. So a little bit more and I might be able to power the system up if I have to. So let me get cracking. All right, folks, so we're done for the day. The only thing really left, I can actually fire the system. These two that go down and into the ground, they feed the house, and I can, in theory, press those fittings, system's watertight, and I can fire up the heat. It's looking like I'm probably going to have to do that because Mama is cold. And it's not expected to get too much warmer. It's not a big deal because I added isolation valves down there so that I can fill the system and turn it off over there. And then I just have to drain these two lines when I go ahead and put the mixers on the wall. But I got to get this video edited and get it out to you guys. It is Friday, so this is coming out today, and it will be on the way. But let me flip you around and show you all the stuff we got done. So you can see the switch and the outlet are installed. Goes up to that light that's up there now. We'll flip that back on. So now I have light over the mixers. I have the main power that goes up, over, and around and feeds that wall. We got those two mixing controls there and there. We got those installed. They are not wired, but they are installed on the wall. They're not going to be hooked up until the mixers are on the wall because it actually powers the mixers. But now the heating wall over here, which has all my controls, has power as well. It goes around on that top conduit where you can see there's two conduits in a space and then another conduit. So now we have power on that wall, and the way it should be, it's all routed correct. It's all in conduit instead of just thrown at the wall, which it was before. I will have to temporarily hook up this pump because that's the pump that actually cycles water through the house at this time. So that'll have to be hooked up to the one pump control so that it can go ahead and turn the pump on and off, and that'll be actually hooked up to this control board right here. And it will turn on the pump so that it can go ahead and, oh, I'm sorry, it's actually this one up top. It's wired to this one so that it can turn that pump on and off once this big tank is up at temperature. Today was kind of a win. We got a lot done. It looks great. You know, what it looked like before was absolutely horrible. And now it looks all neat, organized. It's going to really look incredible once the mixers and everything are up, because I ordered special manifold. I ordered all types of stuff to make the job easier, but also to make it look good. And I mean, in all, it cost me a little, I don't know, 20 or 30 extra for the special manifold to feed 3 heat zones. But it's the way it should be installed. And so rather than creating a jungle gym full of pipes and parts to go ahead and get it hooked up, we will have one big manifold. So when I mean all of this is what was feeding the other 2 mixers. So you can see it went up to, this was the return on the 2 mixers, and then these 2 were the feed on the mixers. So instead of having all this jungle gym worth of stuff, it's one big manifold that'll go on there. And it'll look great over on that wall. I also have to clean up all this mess, all these tools. The top of the heater is just chock full of parts and pieces and bits and bobs. So I have to get that all cleaned up. And it will need to be fired. Mama's cold. But I want to thank you for watching. Appreciate all of you. And in sticking with my motto, if you're thinking about some family, if you're thinking about some friends, reach out, give them a what's up or a WhatsApp, whatever works for you. I love it when someone reaches out to me, and I know you love it too. And until the next one, auf Wiedersehen. So it is After 10 o'clock at night, we're sitting here editing this video. If you made it this far, you gotta give it a like. You gotta give it a subscribe. Come on! We'll see you guys later.
Tschüss.